Welcome, everybody. We're from CoCoFEST. We're waiting on a few people to come into the seminar. The restaurant was running orders very late, so we've delayed this. I see some people possibly at the door maybe coming in, or at least coming this way yet. So. Okay, Steve, it's going to take me about a half hour. Yeah. So, okay. That's approximate time that I can push it to.
It's ready or finished enough. Everything is finished at this point, but we're going to have time for the auction to finish before 4. So, as soon as you get started, the sooner we can
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to CoCoFEST. This is John Strong of Strongware, and I'll be talking about the CoCo 3D printed case project. It basically started a long time ago and we stopped because I was doing some 3D cases for multi-packs, and it was outgrowing the size of my printer, and I actually ordered a printer that was larger. And once I got the larger printer, I said, hey, if I even had a little bit larger, I could do a full-size CoCo. But I went ahead and did a test print, okay? And so it turned out pretty good. So that's my proof of concept was done actually a few years ago. And it also was happening at the time. We had an announcement that somebody was going to actually have injected molded case design for the color computer. And also somebody else announced that they were going to maybe making CoCo cases from bent sheet metal. Well, since my printer wasn't big enough to do the CoCo full-size case and couldn't compete with the injected molded case, all right, I dropped the project, okay? And it's just, no use for me spending the R&D time and money for something that's going to be outclassed with the injected molded case. Well, the injected molded case never happened. Fast forward in time, and I get laid off, and I'm trying to take time to tweak my resin 3D printer, which of course isn't big enough to do a case that size. But it gets me thinking about it again. And so while I'm doing that, I happen to mention to my wife, it'd be cool if I could actually do that 3D printed case for the CoCoFEST. And if I was working, I could afford buying a printer and doing it. She says, how much is it? So I did the research. And I told her amount. She said, buy it. I didn't argue. And so this part of how it simulate this is actually a business card. I kind of did this, finished it up as a kind of a little Kickstarter to people. Hey, if you like the project, but it doesn't really fit anything that you're going to buy, but you want to support it, hey, you can buy a business card holder, $10 or more, and support the project. Okay. So that's kind of it. On screen, I actually have, this is in the actual slicer to show you how you can use it to see how things position with each other. The centerpiece is a mock-up of keyboard. I didn't need a full keyboard position here just to see how it was going to fit in sizes. We look inside, we can actually see some kind of fitting, how it fits on the different pieces of the case. I'm doing 3D Freecad.
That's what I use.
Okay, and I'll show an image of that in a minute. And so this is kind of showing it put together a little bit. I use the position, and I'll go ahead and remove that top piece. You can see the keyboard substitute drawing in there and an angle, and see kind of how some things would fit to try to make this fit better for less prints. The less prints I have to make, less it costs on the research and development. So we remove that. Now, you'll notice this is a bottom case where there's a lot of cutout sections. And why is that? Well, simply one, it's going to print a lot faster and a lot less plastic while I'm doing prototyping. And two, being open there, I can see how things fit inside when I put a top case or a keyboard in there, how things align. So it does two functions there. And so it's really a good idea to do those cutouts while you're doing your research and development. Okay? And so it's a full-size case, and if I was going to slice that, we can still see what supports areas it's doing supports and stuff on it, okay? And then you would save that to file and put that in a printer, and that will allow you to print a bottom part of the case. Now we'll switch over to the Freecad, which I'm doing you gotta remember different mouse controls, the items on it. And so basically, I'm doing at least 3 drawings. You'll see something a little bit unusual here, is some extra things coming real thin on the bottom. This was the first attempt to see if that would actually help keep it from warping as much. It did. That side warps less on the first print than the others did, so I'm going to have to increase that all around to help keep out the warpage. And I'll show that test print here in just a moment. I'm using 2 different materials. For the CoCoByte cases, I am using PLA. I'm using PETG for the full-size case. And so we'll go ahead and we did a test print of that. It needs a lot of work on yet, a lot of warpage, okay? But all that should be worked out in one way or another. Adding extra area for the here to the board, like I just showed you on the screen there, will help the warpage some. Building a surround to keep the heat in will also be a major boost on getting the print quality needed to do a final version of the case. And when I print it, I see some things that's not as rounded as it looked on the screen, so I'm probably going to do some touch-up work to make it look a little bit more CoCo-ish on that. It's not going to be a perfect copy. Freecad is a little contrary on doing certain things it doesn't like, but it'll be a reasonable facsimile that can be 3D printed. Actually have a CoCo 3 sitting on the body piece printed. The body piece is actually farther along in development than the other. I can take and set a real CoCo 3 case on top of it, and it does fit. So there's progress is being made. And you know, it is a lot of work to do it on. So as developing this, I created a group on Facebook, a private group, invited a few people that I knew was working with a CoCo and a CoCoByte. Alan Huffman is one of them. Ron Klein, he's the maintainer of the CoCoByte group. And Chris Burke, he's doing some stuff with the CoCoByte, with the CoCo, and maybe 1 or 2 others. After I did the CoCo crew interview, I invited them to that when I was going to do that so they could see what I was doing. And so it's maintained a little small group to get some feedback. So I'm not just doing everything totally in isolation, but have a little bit of feedback, but not people out there demanding you do this or that, you know, not getting any flames or anything like that while in the process of trying to design this. Okay. Why? Well, why is a big thing is because, one, some people are saying, okay, I'm not getting enough performance out of the CoCo. I'd rather be able to play other things with it. And some people are taking cases, you know, CoCo, and doing that. Now, some people have a spare case from a dead CoCo and things like that. Fine, use that however you want. Sacrifice a living CoCo, quote unquote. Well, let's keep those intact if we can, okay? And so that's one of the reasons for thinking about that. One is like, okay, nobody else has done this. My ego says I like to show it can be done, okay? I'm human. I've got a little bit of ego. I try to keep in contact in there. Okay. Another reason for doing it. Okay. This is Pedro Penas, our AKA Rocky Hills CoCo 3 board. Okay, motherboard. So we're going to have, where you could actually build a CoCo from scratch. He's also done a CoCo 2 board, and actually picked up a second CoCo 2, so I'd have two type of cases here. So I'll be able to support a CoCo 2 case as well in the project. So there's some reasons there to do that. The other spin-off is, you notice I did some things to support that on there, and I developed that. People are wanting the CoCoByte, and well, Alan Huffman suggested, well, let's use the official keyboard for this, because if it's the official keyboard, it's easy enough to get. People use all the same keyboard design, and like, okay, well, you have a price in mind? Well, yeah, about $50. Well, okay, I can't do a full-size case for $50. But I can do a downsized case that allow me to test all the stuff in printing and develop that as running alongside with the idea of the end product is going to be a CoCo 3. So I spun this off, and so I actually have this set up. This one is for a Pi 4. I've got back panels that remove, and a support you put in for the Pi 4 are a different set of back panels, and you can use a Pi 400, which is the same size as the keyboard that's in here. And so it gives an extra product, something that's a little bit less complicated, faster to print, not near the amount of plastic for a bobbin or anything, because I can do this all open. And so it made very much sense to spin this project off while doing the other, okay? Because I could get this worked out a little bit less, and so yeah, it's going to be a little harder to keep that on the printing bed than what this is, but I've got an idea where to go through and work on it at. And so overall, that's kind of the idea of what the CoCo project case. I know we're limited on time, so I'm going a little bit faster than normal. So go ahead and take questions.
I was wondering about how much did those cables cost you that you used to wire up the case with?
You're going to cost over $60 of those cables inside, okay, to do that. So actually, if you're budget constrained, the best way to do this is just buy it without the back panels. Run standard cables in, okay? You'll save my, $10 I charge for the back panels, and you'll save $60 on the cables. But so far, nobody's ordered it that way. Everybody's looking at, I have the guys, well, why did you make it with, well, you got to have choice on back panels and do that separately. Well, I want to support other options. And by doing that, I have the same top case, and now I released it just for the Pi 400. I can now support the Pi 4. Okay, shortly, I'll be able to support the Pi 3B+. So it gives people an option what they want to use and do with it. I've got the B+ at home. I just got to have to sit down and finish the CAD out for the back panels.
I'm sorry, did you say there's different boards for different Pis? Or it's the same, different cases for different Pis?
It's going to be the same case, but the case part is the same. The back panels will be different. And if you use a Pi other than the Pi 400, you'll need a plate that goes inside to support it.
Plate.
Yeah, there'll be a support piece in here that's added, okay? All the back bottom pieces on the Pi.
Can you show that through the camera? It's the back. So this is a Pi 4, I guess?
That's a Pi 4 in here.
And keyboard only?
And a Pi keyboard, yeah.
And if you had a Pi 400, then you don't need the support?
Yeah, you don't need that part.
But otherwise, it's the very same.
The case is the same. So the back panels change differently depending on the Pi that you're supporting.
Those are separate pieces, like an ATX back.
Yeah, so those are separate pieces. You don't have to use these, but if you want something that's all in one that you can just move around, then you need the back panels, and then you need to order all the cables. But if you don't need that, you can actually just run all the cables into where the back panels would go and save $60 or some. okay, on cables. So it's at least about $60, maybe more depending on for the Pi 4, because there's some other cables. I haven't added those up approximate, but just got some of those cables came in this week, so I haven't had time to do that. So that's the kind of the overview of the item is. I think it's something that's needed for the community. Am I the best person to do it? Maybe not, but I'm the one doing it. Somebody can do better, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Can you do custom runs and custom colors?
I can do custom colors, okay? I generally have in stock black. I've done a black and a yellow. But you know, it might be a point where I say, hey, you know, I need to charge a little surcharge for that because, you know, it's going to use, you know, I'm going to have plastic that, especially for this, it's not going to be used with that. So I haven't decided on that because I only keep certain colors and stuff in stock.
You know what would be cool to print the CoCo 3 case in silver, so it looks like a CoCo.
I actually have silver PLA, okay? PLA is available in silver, okay? And if I had a little more time, I might have had one of the CoCoByte cases in silver up here. But I just running out of time and everything I needed to do to come to the show. And so basically, since about 2 weeks, Tandy assembly till now, I've been babysitting, you know, large 3D printer around the clock. You know, before I go to bed, I check it, make sure everything's right. If another one needs started, to get started. When I get up in the morning, shortly, one of the first things I do is go check, see if the print's done, how it's coming. If it's failed in there, stop it. So I say, don't waste any more plastic than necessary. You know, it's got cold in Michigan, and so making sure my propane space heater is turned on enough to keep the temperature warm enough in the garage. You know, a lot of things physically you have to keep going to do that, to do that. So
it breaks if it's cold?
It doesn't necessarily break, it shrinks.
Okay.
Yeah,
The hot plastic shrinks quicker, and therefore it can separate. In this large one, you can see the warpage is caused by shrinkage, and so you have to control that. It's key to get the right temperature of the plastic right to handle with the shrinkage, because even though it may be printing, it may not be hot enough for it not to shrink too much before the other part is shrink. So you're going to have a temperature adjustment on this, which definitely this needs to be done. I can tell the temperature wasn't hot enough. It's breaking, separating too easily, but didn't know that as far as being the first full-size print on that. It's extruded. It looks like up to the point when I went to bed, it was like to about here, well, actually about here. I had some warpage in it, but not near the amount I had here. It looked like I had the temperature and everything pretty right, okay? Till I pulled it off, and then things start breaking here and stuff. So you don't know that till you do a full print. So this is print 1, full print. I had a print I canceled out. Randy has that. Then I showed it Tammy assembly. It just wasn't thick enough on the top, and I wasn't going to waste any more plastic trying to complete it. And so this is a full free-size print, and still has a lot of work to do from it, but it kind of proves concept-wise it can be done. Okay, and so.
You have an open frame printer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to eventually get it.
Yeah, I want to enclose that. Okay. I'm looking at maybe putting some insulation on the print button side of the print bed to help a little bit, to keep it there so the heat goes where it's supposed to be and so where it's not, and possibly enclosing it. But to enclose it, I need a bigger table to put it on, which basically means I'm going to have to build another table, because I built a table, and actually it was for my laser engraver, and I took it over for the 3D printer, and because I didn't have anything big enough, and it's not really big enough for it. So, but there's a lot of things going on. I've got to get enough room in my garage. We had out of work, I had to empty everything out of storage to cut costs. Okay, so it's all in my garage while I rearrange it. I've got a shed there in the house now that I can store some things in, but I need to go through everything so I know what's safe to go in that cold storage and what's not, what I need from the CoCo stuff. You know, I found some stuff, oh, there's where that's at, I need it, okay? But that's kind of the thing. It's a pretty intense project. It's like any RDN project, it is a lot of versions of things. That's one I forgot where I've got one that I've got really on this. It's cut out a lot. You can stop by the table and see that if you want. But it's been an interesting project. You learn a lot, and you know what's acting on one side is okay. Like if it's going to stick, you switch a little bit bigger, and now it's too big. You're going to have to do additional things to get it to stick. But it opens up a lot of possibilities because you know my basic design for the top is going to be basically designed for the CoCo 2 top. It's going to be a different pack, okay? Or you might do a panel you just totally take out and 3D print panel for each one. I haven't decided on that yet because really didn't need that possibility till Rocky Hill or Pedro contacted me and said, hey, I've got these motherboards, okay? You're going to be able to support those. You know, we'll do a case for those, okay? Estimated selling price is probably around $100, okay, on the full-size one. Again, each time you increase the size, you increase the amount of things that you have that can go wrong, and therefore you have to cover that. I've got to break even on these projects or the wife goes. But fortunately, I've done very good on the CoCo community with the projects done, and you know, if we have the money and I'm saying I'm going to have a project and I say, hey, I think I can make money on it, at least break even. She's really been great in encouraging me to go ahead and do the projects. So you see her, thank her. And I do thank a couple people that helped contributed to the thing. Alan Huffman contributed some keyboard, the Pi keyboard and a Pi 400 for it. The project, Mike Rowans contributed a case for it. Some people sent donations by buying stuff. So thank you to you all. It helped make this project go a lot faster to be able to get there and do that. And all the people encouraged it. You see this and you like it, hey, get on Facebook and say, hey, it's cool. Because, you know, these Pi 400 cases, our Pi cases are paying for the development for the Pi 3. The CoCo 3 case. So, you know, if you guys keep buying them, then I'll keep working on developing them.
Just refresh our memory, what is the URL?
Just do Facebook, okay?
But I'm not on Facebook.
You're not on Facebook. You'd have to email me, or I have a strongware.net that I'm going to be posting stuff on. Now that I'm not continually watching the printers and putting cases and stuff together, that I'm going to be posting some stuff back that I posted on Facebook. Yeah, I had hoped to have it up there by this weekend, and I didn't meet that deadline, okay? But if you go there, you'll see some stuff about my cases there, some of the previous ones I've done. And you do there, so I'm probably going to go there and maybe even pull those out and just put a bunch of stuff on the CoCo 3 and the CoCoByte cases.
Have you thought about printing the case upside down? It would probably have less support and less
That actually was consideration, but you really need the underside printing, really spaghettis, okay? And so printing this upside down, yes, it would need a lot less support, okay, on it, but this would be so poor to not be usable. So the only way I could do it upside printing for the CoCo case is I actually separated this into another separate piece. And that's something I had thought about. It's something that might still happen for some reason. If I can't get some of the issues that I'm dealing with here out, may have to do that. But I prefer for it to be, you know, in the one piece with it, at least at this point in time. But that's an option. But once you get one option printed out, doesn't mean, you know, hey, we got this working, we got the bottom piece. Okay, do we need to support a different keyboard in here? Okay, can we do that, or do we do something else? So it's still in, really, even though I put a lot of time on it, there's still a lot of development ways this case can go. But, you know, say, hey, we may say, oh, give me X, okay? We want to have a set of places for the give me X to come out. Or the CoCo 2, instead of doing a whole real CoCo 2 case to add for his couple switches. He's tried to minimize that, but say you don't want to do that to your top of your case, you know, we might have a case that would do that specifically. Any other questions? Anything I missed about this? I tried to hit most of it and do it very quickly because the time.
How long is the average print time due to print a top case?
Okay, the top of the pie case, it's taking a little over 11 hours. The bottom piece of the pie case is taking 3 hours. I don't remember what the time on the bottom of the full-size case says, because it's been a little while since I printed that. But this took 17 hours.
Wow.
Okay? And it will take more than that by the time I add some things that's going to have to be added to it. The sides are warping a lot. I'm probably going to have to put support in the sides. So as it cools down and shrinks, it doesn't move as much. Because when it does that, the 3D printer is going back and trying to put it down in the same place. And so we can get in some wave on the side of it, things I have to do for changing to the CAD for manufacturing. So that's going to add more plastic to it. So I'm sure that time's going to increase from that 17 hours that we had for this test print.
So realistically, you can't do more than one per day.
You can't do one a day for a full-size case. Okay? Because that bottom piece is going to take long enough. If you take the cutouts out of it, it's probably going to take close to 17 hours to do the bottom. You know, 10 hours or better. I don't remember what the time was on that. Okay? I got simplified 3D in there. Okay, its estimated time with the cutouts on that is 8 hours, 25 minutes. Okay, it takes usually that time or more to print. I know the pie tops take longer than the estimated time. This was really actually very close to the estimated time on it. I was quite surprised. It said 17 hours. I was expecting 20 out of it. Okay, and so those are the things going on, if that gives you time. So it's at least 8 hours for that. It's going to be 8, probably. Put those pieces, take pieces to print. So, you know, I'm guessing minimal 12 hours, maybe 10, 12 on a bottom piece that's fully enclosed, would be my guess. So you're talking 27 hours to print a full-size case. Okay, but you know, and I'm talking about development issues and stuff because not only just the 3D printer guys go through this, but any guys develop boards and stuff. You know, what you see in parts in there is only a minor part of what their total investment and cost and time. Any other questions?
One question from the live chat from Jeremy Landry. He says, is shape shifting from thermal changes common for 3D prints?
Yes. Yes, warping is a major common thing for 3D printing.
Especially when that big item.
Especially the bigger you get. The cases I print, they have been for like the CoCo SDC and stuff. Yeah, it was a major problem to figure out how to get those not to warp because they're big flat pieces, okay? And so anything off on the level of the bedding, you don't have your coating on the glass right, they pull off major in the edge, okay? I've done this a lot with those, so I know kind of what to expect and how to handle some of that, so that helps. Okay? I guess, you know, since we're time constrained, I can call that it.
Well, thank you, John. And everybody's welcome to come see you at your table for more Q&A time. And
Yes.
on.
Yes.
freely.
Yeah.
You have items for sale, obviously.
Yes, I do have several of those items for sale. I would like really not have to carry those home. It will also will save you guys shipping. Okay.
Thank you for all that you do, John.
Yeah.
I know many of your products.
Okay, and I thank for all the people that support by buying the products, okay? And, you know, support the people here, you know, because it is, you know, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one of the models is going to be traveling to Colombia tomorrow. So.
Oh, yeah? Nice. International.
You're international now.
You're international, John.
Oh, I've shipped to Australia, I believe maybe Africa, maybe shipping. I've shipped to Europe, Puree, what is,
There's a rat.
yes, right. He's bought multiple of my products.
Everything arrived intact? How much does it cost you to package and ship that thing?
It's about $20 to ship overseas, okay? It generally about that cost, somewhere in that, okay? It was $21, $25, the shippings I just did to Canada, okay? So things had gone up a bit, because I know Canada with the stuff I've been shipping, they've been hitting about 20, and Canada, and those I usually do just first class mail. US, I usually use a priority mail, because it insures at the same time and it gets it to them quicker. And it's not that much more expensive than US shipping for the over first class. You know, the cost difference isn't really worth the extra time that they're going to have to wait. Okay, on the US shipping. Okay, and the other idea, if I do the priority, post office supplies me the box. Okay, to US. Okay, and so. And then I have to buy the box and include that in the cost of shipping if I don't have something that's sitting around if I do US, yeah.
And the time.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Looks like Grant's kicking us out, John. Thank you, John.
Yes.